In this video, you will learn how to use a ratio table to solve percent problems. Let's look at a problem that you just worked on. How much laminate flooring is needed to cover 150 square foot floor with 20% overage? So the first thing that you want to do is think, how can I rephrase this situation so that it makes sense to me? So rephrase the situation and put it in your own words. So the words that I chose were, I need to buy flooring for 150 square foot space plus 20% more. So really what that means is I need flooring for 100% of my space, but I also need 20% extra. So really the percent that I'm looking for is 120%. A lot of times people will see 20% in the problem and think, oh, I just need to find 20%. In this situation, it's really important that you understand what the problem is asking, and it's not asking for 20%. It's asking for 120%. So it's asking us to find 120% of the square footage. So I know that a lot of you drew a percent bar, and it might have looked something like this. So each of these represents 20%. So there's 30 square feet plus 30 more plus 30 plus 30 plus 30. So all of this is 100% of your space. But you also need that extra 20%. So this represents 120%. So all in all, you have 180 square feet. So this is a really good model to use. A percent bar is a great model. I'm going to show you how to translate this to a ratio table, because ratio tables translate very well. So a lot of you may know ratio tables as just T-charts. So what you're going to do is you're going to label your units. So we have square feet and we have percent. What I like to do is start with 100%. Sometimes you'll be looking for 100%, other times you'll be looking for other percentages, but I always like to get my 100% up there. So 100% of our space was 150 square feet. And remember, what we're looking for is not 20%, we're actually looking for 120%. So how many square feet, X square feet, is 120%. Now, there are two really friendly ways to use ratio tables. First, let me say, sometimes there are horizontal relationships, and sometimes there are vertical relationships. And ratio tables allow for a lot of flexibility for how you want to scale your numbers. So in this problem, we could look at the horizontal relationship. I'm going to look at the vertical relationship. And what I'm going to do is show you that finding 10% of a number is a really, really easy thing to do. Because if you can find 10% of a number, you can find a lot of other percents. So I can get 100 down to 10 by dividing by 10. It's very easy to divide things by 10 because that just plays with the place value a little bit. So really what you've done is you've divided by 10, so you moved your decimal point over one space to the left. So 10% of our total flooring would be 15 square feet. Now, we can use our 10% to find other percent. So I could double it and get to 20%. I could multiply that by 2, which is what our our percent bar showed. And then I can get 20 up to 120 by multiplying it by 5. And so I can see that, I'm sorry, not by 5, by 6. So I can see that 6, 30 times 6 is 180 square feet. So 120% of our flooring is 180 square feet. Now, is this the only way you can scale the problem? No, absolutely not. In fact, you could have gone from 100 to 120, 100 to 20, and then up to 120. There are lots of different ways that you can do it. But I wanted to show you that 10% can really be your friend. let me show you also, let's say your numbers are a little bit less friendly. I'm going to use the same numbers in this case, but I want to show you also that 1% can be your friend also, and 1%, finding the unit, makes things, it will work for you every time. So you can get 100 down to 1 by dividing by 100, and over here we can divide by 100 and get 1 5/10, and then we can always scale 1 to anything, so 1 times 120 is 120, and then 1 5/10 times 120 is 180 square feet. So get creative with your scaling, because there are lots of different ways that you can scale these problems. Okay, there's one other thing that I want to show you about ratio tables that's really great to know. Let's do our square footage again, in percent. All right, let's say we only wanted to find 15%. What would 15% of our square footage be? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale 100 to 10. So I'm going to divide this by 10 and divide this by 10, and that gives me 15. And then I'm going to divide 10 in half, and I'm going to divide 15 in half and get 7 5/10. Now you can say 5 times 3 gives you 15, or what you can do is if you know 10% of a number and you know 5% of a number, that was 7.5, you can combine your rows to get your final percentage that you're looking for. So 10% and 5% is 15%, and then 15% and 7 5/10, 15 square feet and 7 5/10 square feet is 22 and 5/10 square feet. So that was just an example to show you how you can combine rows on a ratio table. So play around with your ratio tables, get really comfortable scaling horizontally, vertically, and scaling to lots of different, scaling down and scaling up to lots of different numbers.